Hello, Wid fam. This is Leo with One Happy Widow. I hope you can see and hear me. I see that we are going live. So post in the chat where you're from or just say a hello if you'd like to. Thank you so much for joining. We're doing Lunch with Leo again every Monday at noon Eastern time. I'm trying to make sure that I stick to that schedule. And also, just in case this happens, because I know it probably will, but there is the guy who checks our water filter is supposed to come sometime today. Of course, they can't give us a window. They just give us sometime today. And so he will probably come while I'm doing this live session, and I may have to run and go escort him to the basement to where the water filter is and show him so he can replace that, whatever, and then come back up. And I hate that, but I may have to do that. And then it'll just be nothing sitting here, and you can just look at my background, I guess, while I'm doing that. So anyway, just want to give you that heads up in case that does happen. And since this is a live, I can't really do much, but just say, I'll be right back. And then I guess we'll deal with it. It is what it is, right? So, Mary is here from Iowa. Thank you so much for joining. So what I want to talk about today is, and I always think I'm going to do a short one, like, oh, this will just be a short one because I don't have a whole lot to expound upon, and then I end up talking for an hour. So that's just me. I guess I can talk about even nothing for an hour. Give me an hour and give me a platform, and I can talk for an hour. Missy's here from Kansas. Missy, I just emailed you back a little while ago about those questions that you had. So check your email and just get back to me. I know it had been several days because Mondays is my widow day. So that's the day that I focus on my website. I answer emails. I let people into the Facebook group. I work on the YouTube videos, those types of things. So I sometimes don't get back to people later on in the week until it gets back around to Monday. So I'm just now catching up to some of those, but it's good to see you. And I'm so glad that all of you are here. Sharon says, good afternoon, and everyone from Michigan. So the last time we met last week, we were talking about the election. I didn't get very many views on that one, probably because people did not even want to touch the thumbnail that I had that said, let's talk election, because it was so, contentious. And so they're probably like, I can't even deal with it, even though technically I didn't really talk a whole lot about the election specifically. But I was just kind of thinking if I put that, since that's what everybody was looking for, that it might spark some interest. But I think actually what it did was turn some people away from even wanting to click on it. So, but that's okay, to each his own. And I did mention that by the time we met again today, that we would at least know who our next president's going to be. So now that we know that, now we're dealing with the aftermath of some people gloating for over the fact that their candidate won, and a lot of people having some meltdowns over the fact that their candidate did not win. And so I'm just trying my best to remain civil and, like the election's done. So at this point, you can complain about it, you can celebrate about it or whatever, but we just need to focus on moving forward as a nation and trying to heal some of the trauma that we've all been through together, and hope that we can find some middle ground somewhere between both sides, and work together to make this country a better place. So that's my hope for this country and really for this world. But this is not a political channel again. So I won't even mention how I feel about it. I'm just going to say that, I'm just trying to remain stoic, if you want to call it that. Alita, hello, finally remembered. You made it from New Hampshire. And Sharon says, exhaling, happy it's over. Yeah, pretty much that's mostly it. The most stressful part for me was just, the not knowing how it was going to go, and then not being sure about the aftermath and how things were going to go. Because I didn't want anybody getting hurt. I don't want anybody losing their business or their property, due to civil unrest and things like that. I just want people to feel safe. And I want, like I said, I want us to be able to just heal as a nation, and hopefully we can work together somehow. I mean, we might not ever agree on everything, but we can find some common ground, hopefully somewhere, to focus on and just try to, build ourselves back up as a good nation and a great country. Anyway, all about that. What I really want to talk about today is milestones, because Somehow Veterans Day snuck up on me, probably because I don't like thinking about it. And if you've watched any of my videos in the past, then you'll know that as far as milestones go, Veterans Day is one of the big ones for me. Even though it's weird because technically Veterans Day is for all veterans, living and past, who have served our country and to thank them for their service. There's another holiday in America called Memorial Day, and that is for veterans that we have lost, like remembering the lost veterans that have laid down their lives for their country, who have served their country and no longer with us. And so you would think that Memorial Day would be a more of a trigger for me because Dewey was in the military and he is remembered on Memorial Day. But they usually just do a lot more. I don't know, it's just a lot more in your face on Veterans Day for some reason. It really just hits me hard, especially when we go to church and they talk about veterans, and they have the veterans stand up, and sometimes they'll give out gifts and things like that. And so yesterday we went to church, and we actually were also celebrating our pastor's 60th birthday. So there was kind of like a little celebration for him. And then they mentioned veterans and had him stand up. So it wasn't like as heavily focused on veterans, which I think was they kind of got slighted. But at the same time, a lot of times when you do a Veterans Day service, and it's like a lot of patriotic music and a lot of American flags everywhere. I'm a very patriotic person. And let me tell you what, Dewey was the most patriotic person I've ever met in my life. He was in the Army. He was a drill sergeant in the Army for several years. He actually missed the birth of our son because he was at drill sergeant school and they would not let him leave for the first 7 days. They only let him come to see Carter in the hospital because Carter was having seizures, seizures, and they were doing brain scans on him and didn't know if he was going to. They didn't think he was going to die, but they weren't 100% sure, and they weren't sure if the seizures were causing him brain damage and things like that. So we were like, what is going on with our son? And so we were freaking out, and they gave him like a 1-night pass to drive like 7 hours to come to the hospital and see him when he was a week old because he was in the NICU. And then he had to leave the very next day and go back to his training for drill sergeant school. So that's the military for you. Anyway, so Dewey was a drill sergeant, and like I said, that's a lot of the ways that he raised our kids. When they were growing up, he was very strict. He was very stern. He was very there's black and white. He wasn't very middle of the road. There wasn't a lot of gray area for him. One of his mottos was "The truth will stand when the world's on fire," and he could not stand people who weren't honest. And he also went to Iraq and Kuwait. And he spent 9 months over there deployed. And when he came back, he was just not the same person that he was when he left. So the war over there really just did a lot. It damaged him a lot, mentally, physically. And so when he came back, he just, like I said, he wasn't really the same person. And I had to learn how to get to know this new person and then try to fall back in love with this new person that he was not when he left. There was a lot of anger. He had PTSD. He had night terrors. He had hypervigilance. He had behaviors that came out, weird behaviors, due to a lot of his anxiety and stress when he came back. And plus he had a lot of pain. And so he was dealing with chronic pain. It was just a big combination of a lot of things. And then eventually he got discharged on a medical discharge, based on all of the things. They were getting ready to deploy him again, actually. And so you have to go through a medical checklist before they will deploy you and send you back to war. And he failed his medical. And so they were like, wow, this guy's got a lot of stuff wrong with him. So they decided to medically discharge him. And so then we had to go through the process of trying to get his benefits and all that stuff. So, and as I talked about in the previous couple of the previous videos, it took me over 7 years for me to finally get the military to admit responsibility for his death and call it service related, because his death was as likely as not caused by the toxins that he had been exposed to when he was over there. And because the type of cancer that he got was very rare, and it hardly ever gets seen in people of his demographics and his age and his health and things like that. So, yeah, we finally got a little bit of closure on that for the military to take financial responsibility for his death. And so that has helped a little, a little bit of that closure. But the real point that I wanted to talk about is, being Veterans Day today is the day that we thank our veterans for their service, and he's not here to thank for his service. But when he was alive and we'd go places and people would see his, he'd be wearing his military garb or some kind of military shirt or something. By the way, I'm wearing mine, Land of the Free because of the brave. Yeah. So I gotta, I gotta represent. But anyway, people would say, thank you for your service. And he would say, sure, no problem. And he'd say, I'd go back and do it all over again if they'd let me. And that was like his little comeback from people who, thanked him for going to war, basically, for fighting for the freedoms that we take for granted so much in this country. So, so those are the two things about him, that were really part of the biggest part of his identity was being a dad and being a soldier. And he would even say, I was put on this earth to be a dad. He took it very seriously, and he loved his kids. I know all dads can say they love their kids more than anybody else, but I don't think I've seen a guy who is more dedicated to his family and to his children than him. And he dedicated his life to his country and to his family. And for that, he should be thanked and remembered. But that makes Veterans Day tough. Makes Veterans Day tough for me. And it's just hard. It's hard for me to sit in the church service and to look around at all the men who are standing up. And my current husband is one of them because he's also a veteran. And to look around and know that Dewey can't stand up anymore to take credit for the sacrifice that he made for this country. And actually, the job that he did for this country is what ultimately took him from us. And so it wasn't just that he served and then he died. It's that he died because he served. And so that's a bitter pill to swallow, and to stay. Oh, my dog just broke in. You cannot come in here. Go, 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 go. She busted the door down and came in. Let me go close that door real quick. All right. Way to be interrupted in an emotional moment, right? So, anyway, as I was saying, he didn't just serve and then die. He died because he served. And so it's, and yet I still remain patriotic because we know that is a chance. When a man signs up to be in the military, he understands that he's putting his life on the line, possibly for his country, and he still willingly signs up and does that because of his patriotism or her patriotism. But I'm talking specifically about Dewey. But it's it can go to all veterans. By the way, if you are a veteran or if your husband or wife was a veteran and served, thank you for your service. If you are the spouse of a veteran, thank you for your service, because we all know that when we're married to a veteran, that we're serving the country as well, because we're giving up part of our husbands or wives so that the military can basically own them for a good part of it. When the military says you're going somewhere, wife does not get to trump military, unfortunately. So when we're married to a military guy, they pretty much own your whole family, for that amount of time. So, but that's the sacrifice that has to be made in order to keep our country safe. And so we make that sacrifice willingly, even though, it's a huge price to pay. So they say some gave all and all gave some, and Dewey gave all. So, and today's that day, that we honor those veterans and that we recognize their sacrifice, whether they're here still or whether they are past. Let me go back and see. It looks like I've got some more chats. Good afternoon, friends from the Pacific Northwest. Snowy Owls, thank you for joining. And I understand where you're coming from, Leo. I'm Vietnam era Army. Thank you for your husband's service. And thank you as well. Naomi says, I don't know them all, but I owe them all. That's a good way to put it. Heaven is so good that no one is coming back. Sending you a big hug. Thank you. That's really nice. And Snowy Owl says, Leo, that is so true about the spouses. Marcia Magic says, hello. So thank you so much for joining. So today I want to talk about just milestones in general because we all have those milestones that some of them just kind of, as widows and widowers, they hit us a little harder than others. And it just depends on, I don't know what it depends on, like our personality or the way that we think about certain things or how we recognize certain things or how things trigger us in certain ways. I don't really know why some milestones hit us in other ways. Like my current husband, JP, his anniversary is a big one for him. And that happened in August. When his anniversary with his late wife starts to come up for several weeks, it raises his anxiety a lot. And a lot of people say when milestones come up, the ones that are the most triggering, that sometimes the anxiety and the stress that lead up to that milestone can be as traumatic or as anxiety inducing, if not more, than the actual day. Because like we know it's coming and we think about it, we ruminate over it, and it's like it's a loop in our head, and sometimes we can't stop thinking about it, and it just causes all this stress. And sometimes it triggers like a grief episode, even if it's been a while. Like for me, it's been 7.5 years, so it's but I'm still over here like tearing up. And on Veterans Day, I have a little cry, and because it's always going to be emotional when you think about the ties, that your person represents for whatever that milestone is. So for some people it's anniversaries, and for some people it's birthdays, and for a lot of people it's holidays in general, just the holidays coming up. Even if you're not Christian, and maybe you don't celebrate Christmas, although Christmas is probably like the biggest wintertime holiday that's celebrated in America, but there's also other major religions that celebrate holidays around the same time. And so you can lump that into just the holidays. And even if you don't celebrate a holiday, you're still faced with it, because it's just part of even commercially, it's part of our life. The whole November, December months, it's just full of holiday stuff at the store and commercials, and you're bombarded with it, even if you don't observe those holidays or recognize or celebrate those holidays. You can't really get away from it very easily. And it's really tough to get through the holidays sometimes when you are widowed, especially that first one. The first one is such a confusing time because you don't really know how to celebrate the holidays, the first holidays without your spouse. The most confusing one, I think, is the first one, because you're not sure what to do, how to do it. You don't know if you should celebrate, if you should remember. You don't know if you should keep the same traditions that you had as a family or with your spouse, or if you should chunk them all and make new traditions, or if you have a mix of things. You don't know if you should have family over, if you should go be with family. Family doesn't know how to treat you because you were a couple and now you're just a single person. You don't know if you should get presents for everybody, or if you should put up your decorations, or if you should just skip it entirely, if you should stay away from people, or if you want to be around people. Do you see how it can be so confusing? Like, do you think about those things? Do you have those same questions and feelings and confusions? And then after you've gone through it once, you're like, okay, I survived. I did it. And then you got to do it all over again, And I think it is that first one where we're not sure, like, can I get through it? How am I going to get through it? What do I do? And how do I celebrate? And all those things. And then you just somehow muddle through and somehow get through it. And then the next year you make some changes. You figure out what worked last time. And then you say, well, that didn't work. I'm not doing that ever again, or whatever changes that you need to make and adjustments that you need to make. And then you try to remember that for the next one. And I think, and it's different for everybody, but I think the general consensus is that over a series of holidays without our spouse, we end up generally kind of holding on to some of those precious traditions that we created with our spouse, getting rid of some that might be triggering or that don't mean as much to us specifically, and then maybe bringing in some new traditions that we create so that we can make some fresh memories with our family now and our friends now that we can carry on into the future holidays. So, and I think that's probably the most healthy way of looking at it. But sometimes it takes several rounds, if you want to call it that, of years of going through the holiday season to figure out what works best for you. And no matter what you do, when you figure it out, either way, it's just tough. Holidays are just a tough time for widows, and we all know it. And once we understand that and figure out, what's going to work to get us through, then we try to double down on that and see if we can recreate that and make some kind of semblance of something during the holidays so that we can get through it. And hopefully at some point, instead of just getting through it or surviving it, we can make enough new traditions and memories that we can find some kind of joy out of it and continue to move forward and make it a part of our new normal. I don't like that term, but that's what it is. And try to make that part of our new life. So, yes, it is very rough. I agree. Sharon says this will be my first holiday season without my husband. I think about all of these things. So, and I can remember going through, so I can say, and some of my milestones come in clusters, right? So in June is a big cluster of milestones because, June is my anniversary. It's the date of his death. So my anniversary is on June 10th. He died on June 17th. So exactly a week later. And then Father's Day is always somewhere in that same week. So the day that he died was on Saturday and Father's Day was the very next day. So our first Father's Day without him was the day after he died, before we even had the funeral or anything. So June is like a cluster of milestones. It's a little triggering for me. And then November, which is now, is also a cluster of milestones. It's a little tough for me because we have Veterans Day, we have Thanksgiving, we have Dewey's birthday, which is on the 22nd, which is always somewhere in that week of Thanksgiving, and it's also my wedding anniversary to my current husband. And so it's like a mix of just things that kind of all go together. So my anniversary is on the 16th of November, and then his birthday's on the 22nd, and then this year Thanksgiving's on the 28th, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, it's always somewhere during that time. And then, of course, you got Veterans Day. So November is like a whole clump of holiday milestones and, a lot of roller coaster of emotions. And then right around the corner, you've got Christmas and you got New Year's. Now, Christmas wasn't very triggering for me. I'm not saying it was easy to get through, but it wasn't as triggering for me as the November stuff was. And I think it's because I'd just gotten through the November stuff. And then December was just like, okay, let's just get through Christmas and do it. New Year's was a big trigger for me. And I think it was because it was the calendar date that changed. And I thought I was the only one. Like every time we have a feeling of in our grief journey, we think I'm the only one that feels this way. And we feel like we're strange, but we find out later that we're not the only one. Any kind of thought, weird thought or funny thought or strange thing that you do or say or think, trust me, there's always somebody out there who has thought it or said it or done it or whatever. Just ask. But for some reason, I thought I was the only person that had this strange weirdness about when I turned the calendar he died in 2017. So when I turned the calendar and it says 2018, even though he died in June, so it had only been half a year, but for some reason, turning that page to 2018 and seeing that it was a calendar year that Dewey would not be on this earth for not one single day of 2018. Where at least in 2017, he was still alive at some time during 2017. He wasn't alive the last day of the year, but he was alive in 2017. So something in my brain just could not get over that from January 1st to December 31st of 2018 would be an entire calendar year that he was not alive on the earth. And it would be like the first full year of it. And so when we turned that page and went to January 1st, that's when it happened. And I think that the guy might be here. My dog is barking. It's either because I knocked this table or because he is at the door and she's barking. So I may have to go downstairs and let him in. And that will be like maybe a 5-minute break. And I apologize if I have to leave this thing going with nobody here for 5 minutes, but check the chat and let everybody know if that's what happens. Anyway, just going through and talking about those milestones and just recognizing that I think one of the biggest things that we can do is just recognize that milestones are tough and just know that we don't have to do any certain thing in any certain time, and that reaching out to spend some time or to connect with other people that are in our same dog. She just brought me her nasty toy. Anyway, you got to go, girl. Go, 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 go. Anyway, we have to recognize, reaching out to people who are going through the same journey as us. So, finding a connection with other widows or widowers who have gone through similar milestones, similar losses. And for that reason, I want to tell you about, let me close my door again. I'm going to lock it this time. No, you can't come in here. No. Okay. All right. Sorry. Okay. Anyway, for the reason of all the milestones and the holidays, I have created our Surviving the Holidays Together 2024. So it is, and I want to tell you about it. We've had several people sign up already. And so it's an event that's going to last about 6 weeks. It's going to start next Monday, November 18th. So I want to tell you about it. It is going to be a private Facebook group. There's going to be live Zoom sessions private to just the group. It will not be posted later on YouTube or anywhere public. It will be Zoom, not just chat, so that you'll be able to either go on the microphone or the camera and talk and interact with each other and me. We'll have weekly Zoom sessions like that. And if you can't attend, you can always watch the video of it, the recording of it. We're going to have weekly activities. So, and I made me a little list. So we'll have introductions and getting to know each other, setting some goals for ourselves for the event. It's going to be, like I said, from start next Monday, and it'll be through the rest of November and all the way through New Year's Eve. We will have some exercises in gratitude. And so we'll practice that for our holiday Thanksgiving stuff coming up. We'll have some creative coping. So we'll be doing some creativity, some art, some, crafty, whatever. We'll be doing some of those things together. We will be going through some holiday resilience strategies. So I'm going to give you a list of some actionable things that you can do to help yourself to survive through the holidays and beyond. We will have a virtual holiday party / gathering. So in case you are not wanting to be around other people or you don't have family or friends close by, we will have some party gathering, whether it be you can call it Christmas, you can call it holiday, you can call it New Year, whatever we're just going to call it holiday gathering. Okay. So you can call it whatever you like, but it's just going to be a chance for us to get together and just blow off some steam and, spend some time together with people who understand what we're going through. We will have some time, we'll have some exercises and reflection and some goal setting and some intention setting so that we can understand how to close out this year, reflect on it, learn from it, come to terms with some things, and then to look forward and set some intentions, some routines, some goals, just some things that we can try to just put our mind in the right place so that when we look forward to the new year, we're not looking at it with a sense of dread and going into the new year kicking and screaming. Instead, we need to try to clear out the cobwebs, give ourselves a few deep breaths, and try to help each other look forward to the new year and look forward to some things in a more positive light. And then we will do a farewell to the year and a turning the page, even if it might be triggering. It might not be all celebration. Okay. It might, some of it might be some collective crying and some loving on each other and just, letting it go. And that's going to be part of it too. And I understand that. So anyway, it will be scheduled out. I will have things for you to download that you can print out. I will have specific exercises that you can participate in if you want to. And so it'll just be a chance for you. It'll be like a place for you to retreat to that will be full of other people that are going through the same issues during the holidays so that you can go in there and vent. You can go share your experiences. You can ask questions about how to deal with certain things, especially if it's your first holiday. If this is your first holiday as a widow or a widower, I highly encourage you to sign up because it's really going to help you get through. This is going to be a hand-holding event for you for 6 to 7 weeks so that you do not have to feel like you're going through this alone. Even if you're surrounded by people, if none of those people are widowed and can understand what you're going through or understand your situation, it's really hard. you will feel alone at a holiday party in a room full of people because nobody can understand exactly what you're going through. So this will be like your home base that you can kind of retreat to and know that everybody there understands the kind of journey that you're on. If you have already been through a holiday or several holidays before, but you're widowed, and you can provide us with some insight on what has worked for you in the past, or just a way for you to help other people and help be a mentor to the newer people who are on this journey, and to help provide some support and some hope, then I highly encourage you to sign up as well, because I'm going to need some people who've been through it before to help encourage the ones who are new, who are coming in and feeling hopeless or feeling like there's no way I can get through the holidays by myself. And so it's going to be an event for people. It doesn't matter if it's your first holiday alone or if it's your 20th holiday alone. It does not matter. If you've been through it and you know what it's like and you are widowed, then I encourage you and invite you to join the group. So I'm going to put and some people were telling me that the link wasn't working, but I tried it today. I'm going to type it into the chat. Give me a second. Okay, so I'm putting it in the chat, and I'm going to say it, and it's also in the description below. So if you're watching the recording of this, the link is below. It's onehappywidow.com/holidays2024, holidays 2024. You should be able to click on that. It'll take you to a place where you can sign up. And basically, when you sign up, it'll just take you through the checkout process, and then it'll just say, thanks, look for an email. That's all it'll say. I have to manually send out the invitation. So you won't automatically get an email like immediately after you sign up. I have to go in, see that you've signed up, and then I go into the Facebook group, and then I send the invitation from the Facebook group. So if it takes me a couple of days, just don't freak out. Just know that we won't be doing anything. You're not missing anything until the 18th anyway. So I'm creating the group as we speak. And so I'm building it up now, and I'm creating all of the activities and all the downloadable things. So that's what I'll be working on this week. So it'll all be ready to start with our first introduction next Monday on November 18th. So I encourage you to sign up, and the more people that we can have sign up, the better this event's going to be, because I don't want it to just be me and 3 other people and us just talking about it. I mean, I will do that for 3 other people, but I'm hoping that we can get a big group of people together so that we can all find some buddies and some friends and connect with people that we have some things in common with, and maybe even create some online friendships with people that will continue on past the end of the group. And I also plan to have a New Year's Eve party. So it might not be in your time zone, but I'm going to bring in the new year with the group. And so that's where I'm going to be, right here live with Zoom on the New Year's Eve. So anyway, I think the guy's here. So we've, since I hate to cut it short, but I am going to. If you have questions or anything else about it, feel free to email me, check it out. Go to the link. If the link's not working for whatever reason, let me know. And if you have any other questions or comments, then feel free to post them in the description below. And until then, I'm going to see you next week on Monday with Lunch with Leo. Go to the Facebook group, check it out, tell everybody, get your friends to sign up, tell all of your buddies that are widowed and widowers in your other groups or whatever, give them the link and have them all come and sign up, and we can all get through the holidays together, guys. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me. And let's see, hit the like button, folks. That's right. Hit the like button. Oh, let's see, entering my second holiday season cluster coming up. The first one I kept going strong for my kids, and I was still more numb. Now I'm feeling taking lots of breaks to breathe. Correct. Yes, I can definitely understand that. Goal setting sounds good. Yes. So we'll do all of those good things. We'll do all the exercises. We'll do all the things. Okay. My Marine hubby died on USMC birthday 11/10 last year with service-related cancer. I have 2 days in a row to think of him. I often visit the local VA oncology department who had treated him with love. Mary, I've dealt with that as well. He was on an oncology, the floor of the VA hospital. And it's funny because all his nurses, for some reason, all his nurses were from Nigeria. So they all spoke with the same kind of accent, and they loved him so much. And they were so funny, and he was so funny, and they all told jokes. And it was just, even though it was a cancer ward, it was just, they made the best of their visit there. They took really, really good care of him. And I have to say, I appreciate all of that. But I do understand Dewey had a service related cancer as well. It was bile duct cancer. So I totally get that. Hopefully, Mary, you have gotten your service related benefits and all that. And if you haven't and you have questions about that, I can help you because I've gone through so many different things, and I can at least give you I can share with you some of my experiences on how I got what I got and the process and how it all works. So if you have any questions about that, oh, you have. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. And I'm going to go ahead and cut it off so that I can help the filter guy so we can get some water that's not turning my hair orange and drying all of my skin out anyway. All right. Thank you. And good week. And go sign up for the holiday survival so that we can all meet together next week, not only here, but on the Facebook group, and we can start our journey together on surviving the holidays. All right. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Bye.